Hey, as you can see, this is not Alex, and we are still in my bedroom and not my dorm room because I'm still on break. We are instead joined by Michael Lipkin, who has written a number of pieces for us, which we thank him for. And
You're welcome.
he's here to discuss issues within the lesbian, gay, bi, transsexual community, and how Bill Richardson stands on said issues.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bill Richardson's taken a little bit of flack in the past about some of the things he said and the stances he's had. He, on the logo, which is the gay cable network, he, in my opinion, had a bit of a slip of the tongue and said that being homosexual is a choice. And he also mentioned the support for Supreme Court Justice Byron White, who was very adamant against homosexual rights. But I feel that these are minor sort of quibbles that, if you look closely at his record in things he's done in New Mexico with LGBT rights and the things he proposes as president, you really see he's a very strong supporter of LGBT rights.
Tell us a bit more.
Well, he wants to, first off, he's one of the few Democratic nominees that wants to completely do away with Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which is the policy that says that if you're out and in the Army, you're not allowed to serve, basically.
Right.
Which pretty much the entire gay community views as unjust because, you know, if I'm a soldier doing my job just as well as anyone else, it really shouldn't matter what my sexual orientation is.
Exactly.
And he also, in New Mexico, he enacted a lot of anti-hate legislation, which is obviously a big deal. And there isn't any federal anti-hate against the gay community legislation out there right now. And that's definitely on his agenda. And it's something he's adamant about getting done if he gets elected. He's also wants federal anti-discrimination legislation, which is, again, something that doesn't exist in the gay community.
Right. And then what would he, what about civil unions?
Well,
I should ask, civil unions and actually gay marriage?
Well, he's not in support of gay marriage, which, just as a defense, no Democratic nominee is. But he does want to extend all the rights of a marriage to domestic partnerships, is what he terms them. So that would be all the legal rights. So if your partner dies, you'd be able to claim rights to the estate just like a wife or husband would in a legal marriage. Hospital visitation rights, all of this would be exactly the same as it is in a marriage. It's just going to be called something different.
So you're essentially saying that he is willing, he's not that he's against gay marriage. He's basically for all the things that marriage entails. It's just that he's against the term
term gay marriage, which, in all fairness, is a relatively minor thing if you're getting all of the rights.
Right. I mean, I guess it's really hard to say. I think on the one hand, you obviously want the
status.
You exactly.
Like, I have a marriage just like everyone else has a marriage. Right. But no candidate is willing, especially obviously the Republicans, no candidate is willing to say, yes, I will okay gay marriage. And very few candidates, if any at all, are willing to give as many rights as Richardson is in support of.
I mean, you have to think that if you're basically getting all the rights that a straight, heterosexual couple has, that you really have taken great leaps towards securing gay rights, because in essence, marriage isn't really a federal institution. It's not a government institution. If your church, synagogue, mosque, whatever, agrees to marry you, then you're married. You're married. It's
in terms of your faith.
In terms of your faith, exactly. I mean, even if you're an atheist, it's marriage is not a government institution, but the rights that come with it are. So if you're getting all the rights that are basically entailed,
then you could go to a church, and if your church, as many churches are willing to grant a marriage, as they term, if you go to your church and they're willing to perform a gay marriage, well then, in the eyes of the church, you're married. And in the eyes of the government, you have every right a married couple would have. So nothing's perfect. So, but it's the farthest stride that any.
Exactly. Basically, you're picking a little bit.
Right.
You have to imagine. And also it's a highly political issue. If he wants if he wants to pass gay marriage civil rights legislation, he can't be terminated gay marriage.
Right, because
that the term in itself automatically gets opposition.
Right. Because
but you can say civil unions with all the rights. And
right,
still,
because the conservatives, they hear the word gay marriage and just like a button goes off in a lot of these race-staunch conservatives. If you say civil unions and you say some rights that go with it, a lot less so are turned off to it, and that makes it a viable legislation.
Exactly.